Most men are replaceable by lunchtime. Rare men are not. This is not motivation. This is a blueprint for becoming impossible to replace. Machiavelli wrote it 500 years ago, and it still works today. Here is the part nobody tells you. The world doesn't run on fairness. It runs on scarcity. A thing gets its price from how hard it is to get, not from how good it is. You already sense this every time you meet someone who answers every text in 10 seconds and someone who takes 3 days. You trust one of them more, and it is not the fast one. Your brain does the math automatically. Easy access reads as low value even when nobody says it out loud, and hard access reads as danger, which the same brain quietly translates into importance. Machiavelli spent his life studying men who held power and men who lost it, and the ones who kept it shared one trait. They were never easy to reach and never easy to read. Start with your presence. Right now, you are probably available to everyone. Every group chat, every notification, every person who half remembers your name gets a piece of you the second they ask for it. That is not kindness. That is inventory management, and you are giving your stock away for free. A ruler who is seen constantly, who explains every decision, who begs to be understood, becomes furniture. People stop noticing furniture. Machiavelli built his entire theory of power on the idea that a leader must act in such a way that people are left guessing, because a man who is fully known is a man who is fully controlled. Now take silence. Most men treat quiet as a gap that needs filling. They rush to explain themselves the moment someone raises an eyebrow. They confess plans nobody asked about because the silence made them uncomfortable. Every time you do that, you hand someone a weapon built from your own mouth. In The Prince, Machiavelli laid out exactly why a leader has to control who gets to speak freely around him and who does not. He wrote that the only way to guard against flattery is to let people know you do not mind hearing the truth. But then he added the warning most men skip past. But when anyone and everyone can tell you the truth, you lose respect. Read that twice. Open access does not earn respect, it kills it. The same rule applies to your plans, your goals, your next move. The moment everyone has an opinion on your life stops being yours. This is why the men who last learn to run their inner circle like a border, not a lobby. Not everyone who wants in has earned the right to speak into your decisions. Some people only show up when you are struggling, nodding along like they're on your side, quietly comfortable, as long as you stay where you are. The second you actually grow, watch how fast their nodding turns into criticism. That is not an accident, and it is not personal. It is a man defending his own comfort by trying to keep yours identical to it. You do not owe those people access just because they showed up first. Ask them a real question about your plan and watch how quickly they change the subject or find a reason it will not work. That reaction tells you everything about how much room they actually want you to take up in their life, which is exactly as much as you were taking before and not 1 inch more. Let me tell you about a guy named Harry. Harry used to post his goals online every January, the gym plan, the business idea, the whole roadmap, because he thought accountability meant announcement. Every year the comments cheered him on, and every year by March the plan was dead and the comments had moved on to someone else's announcement. One December he stopped posting entirely. He trained alone, built quietly, told nobody, and by the following winter, the results spoke before he ever opened his mouth. People started asking what happened to him instead of watching him explain nothing. I used to be the version of Harry that talked. I once handed my entire plan to someone I trusted, timeline and all, and watched them use the wait time to get there first. I do not explain my moves to a room anymore. I let the room find out. This is not paranoia. This is arithmetic. Every piece of yourself you give away without a price attached trains people to expect it for free forever. Look at John Wick. Nobody in that world knows what he's doing next, and that single fact keeps armies of men at a careful distance. Nobody in Jujutsu Kaisen tests Gojo twice, because the first test already told them everything they needed to know about the cost of finding out. Mystery is not a trick. It is armor built out of unanswered questions. Discipline is the second half of this equation, and it is the part men love to skip because it is boring, and boring does not trend. Machiavelli was blunt about what separates a ruler who lasts from one who gets swallowed. In The Prince, he wrote that everything a leader does must give an impression of greatness, spirit, seriousness, and strength. Notice the word impression is not the point. The point is that the impression only holds up if the substance underneath is real, day after day, when nobody is filming it. The men who fold under pressure are not weak by accident. They simply never built the floor beneath them before the storm arrived to test it. Discipline is not the dramatic decision you make once. It is the small, boring one you make on repeat until it stops asking for your permission. The workout on the day you do not feel like it. The reply you do not send at midnight. The plan you keep quiet about for one more month, even though you are dying to tell someone. None of that gets applause. Nobody is filming the version of you that shows up on the ordinary, unremarkable Tuesday when nothing is on the line except your own word to yourself. That Tuesday is the one that decides who you become. All of it gets results, and results are the only currency that never gets discounted. If you are actually building this in your own life right now, drop a comment with the word rare, because I want to know how many of you are done being available to people who never earned it. History proves this in a way fiction cannot fake. Cincinnatus was a Roman farmer, pulled off his own land to save the Republic from invasion, and once he had done it, he gave up total power and walked back to his fields without being asked twice. Rome did not remember him because he wanted the spotlight. Rome remembered him because he was rare enough that the entire city needed him and disciplined enough not to abuse it once he had it. Steve Jobs got thrown out of the company he built in 1985. Apple spent 12 years without him, drifting toward irrelevance, and by 1997, they were begging him to come back to save a company that had forgotten what it was for. That is not a comeback story. That is proof of a principle. His absence cost more than his presence ever had, and that gap is exactly what you are building toward every single day you choose discipline over comfort. Here is the part that separates the men who read this and nod from the men who actually change. Rarity without substance is a costume. You can disappear from every group chat and refuse to explain yourself and still be worth nothing if there is no skill, no result, no evidence underneath the silence. Machiavelli understood this better than anyone, which is why the discourses on Livy contain a line that most men reading only The Prince never even find. He wrote that nothing makes them so much esteemed as to give rare examples of themselves, not constant examples, rare ones. A man who proves himself once in a way nobody forgets outweighs a man who proves himself daily in ways nobody notices. So build the thing that makes your absence expensive. Master a skill until your name gets attached to it without you asking. Keep your calm in rooms where everyone else is losing theirs, because the man who does not flinch becomes the man people quietly obey. Guard your plans the way Harry eventually learned to, not out of arrogance, but because a plan spoken aloud too early gets picked apart by people who never had to risk anything to have an opinion on it. Let your results do the introduction. Let your absence do the negotiating. Let the gap between what people expect from you and what you actually deliver do more work than any speech ever could. This is not about becoming cold. It is about becoming accurate. Say less than you know. Show less than you feel. Deliver more than they expect. Do that consistently enough, and something shifts that you cannot fake your way into. People stop taking your presence for granted. They start protecting it because somewhere in the back of their mind, they understand what Rome understood about Cincinnatus and what Apple understood too late about Jobs. Some men are common, some men are rare. The world always finds a way to notice the difference right before it is too late to keep them. And the men who spent years building quietly are the only ones standing there when it finally does. The version of you that answers every call, explains every move, and begs quietly for approval is not who you were built to be. He is just the easiest version to become, and the world will let you stay him forever if you let it. The other version, calm, disciplined, hard to read, harder to replace, is available to you starting with the next decision you make. It will not feel like power at first. It will feel like loneliness, like watching people drift toward the version of you that used to explain everything, the version who was easier to manage because he was easier to predict. Let them drift. You are not losing them. You are finding out in real time who was actually loyal to you and who was only loyal to the convenience of the old, available, over-explaining version of you. The ones who stay were never staying for the explanations anyway. Machiavelli did not write for kings because kings needed the advice most. He wrote it because everyone else refused to hear it. Kings already understood that access is currency. It is the rest of us who keep spending ourselves down to nothing and wondering why nobody fights to keep us around. This is all I can say on YouTube. The parts that get flagged for being too honest about how power actually works live on Patreon now, where the algorithm cannot water them down or bury them for making people uncomfortable. If today's video did what it was supposed to do, go find the others there. Also, make sure you hit like and subscribe if you want to see more YouTube videos. I'll see you in the next one.